Hi, my name is Jake, and welcome to this walkthrough video of the Iconic Music Bundle. In this video, we're going to dive into the naming convention for all the files, how everything is organized, listen through some of the tracks, and lastly, go over some tips and tricks on how you can use this for your gamer project. I had a lot of fun putting this together, and it's been a long time in the making. So without further ado, let's just dive right in. Alright, so here we have the Iconic Music Bundle in its full form here. So I've laid out the folder so we could see how it's all organized. We have a couple main sections: casual, fantasy, noir, PSX horror, sci-fi fantasy, and western. And within casual and fantasy there are multiple folders because these are bigger packs. Within this, let's take a look at how the files are named. So we can see that there is a title, and then after the title, there's sometimes some other information. Let's use a fantastic day as an example. So here's just a fantastic day. We have the word underscore, which follows this title. Underscore means the melody is not present, the main melody is not there. And then we have a fantastic day underscore loop. Loop means it's loopable, and there's, in this case, 2 loops here. If we go over here, there's some other variations of other tracks, a 30-second version, 60-second version, and sometimes we'll see the word alt, and that just means there's an alternate version of that track. Usually that means like a different arrangement or a different type of mix. It could be a number of things. Also, what we have here sometimes is just descriptive words, such as no piano or drums only. And that is pretty self-explanatory. It's what you would think it is. An afternoon stroll, drums only, is just the drums, as we could hear that there. Whereas an afternoon stroll loop sounds like this. And then no piano loop. Right? So yeah, within cartoon comedy, we have essentially a bunch of cartoony and comedic tracks. Right, just perfect. Most of them lay pretty low and kind of stay out of the way, and others are a lot more present. Now that we've gone over file naming conventions, I'm going to go ahead and close casual and just start by looking into the fantasy one, and we'll come back to casual later. So fantasy was inspired by the music of Skyrim, The Witcher 3, and the Elder Scrolls games. In here we can see the same consistent naming that we had in the other folder, with the loop, no drums, drums only, etc. And there's even a few, if you are an owner of the complete fantasy bundle, that this is essentially what that pack is, you'll notice a few different tracks, a few new tracks that were included, such as in the exploration folder we have Hushed Winds, which is a new one. Right, really fun stuff. So yeah, all of this is very fitting for fantasy RPG games and whatnot. Menus is a collection of tracks that were mainly fit for, as it says, menu settings. So a lot of them are just background and kind of stay out of the way. So this short action loop here. And meanwhile, some of them are more thematic and have a forward melody present, again, for like a menu setting. This is another new one, Along the Sacred Path. Let's look at stingers. Stingers is great for just when you pick up an item or there's some event that you want to cue and just have a short little musical instance. That's exactly what these stingers are made for. All right, here's another one. And here's one more. Really great stuff there. And now with these ones, like noir, we have it divided up in a similar way as fantasy, where we have action, exploration, bar, that's specific to this noir setting, and menu. And then we also have some stingers for the noir stuff as well. The same goes with PSX horror. There are some combat tracks, and some exploration tracks, as well as like save room stuff, which could also be menu. A few stingers as well, such as like items being picked up. Right? And same again goes with these other two. Action Cantina, specific to this sci-fi fantasy one, and exploration. And then for the Western, action, exploration, and saloon piano. And theme could also be menu. Let's go back to casual. So within casual, this is just a heap of a bunch of stuff here. We have ambient tracks, which is literally just exactly as it sounds. Right, just a bunch of ambient stuff. Cartoon comedy, which we just talked about earlier in this video. Cool, chill, and there's just a handful of stuff here. Right, really interesting stuff. Cozy and wholesome. I've heard this used in quite a few settings. There's the, again, underscore as opposed to one with a melody. And then no melody. Works really, really well. Energetic tracks, got a bunch of these. There's really all sorts of stuff here. Here's a newer one. And then short cues, which is sort of like stingers, but some of them are a little bit longer than others. And then lastly, uplifting tracks. And then, of course, one with no trombone, no melody. Yeah, no melody there as well. So there's just a quick overview of how everything is laid out. And really, you can mix and match all sorts of different settings. For example, Noir is inspired by the music from LA Noire, Grim Fandango, and those types of things, any film noir stuff. And these can be fit pretty well, at least some of the tracks, some of the exploration tracks especially, with some of the sci-fi fantasy exploration stuff, and when used in the right setting, in the right context, even some of the Western. For example, let's check out in the noir section, Suspect is Near. Right, so that's the kind of sound that we have there. And if we go to sci-fi fantasy, let's check out Too Dark to Tell. Right, they can totally live in the same world there. So yeah, really, you can just mix and match and just really have fun and explore and find the Venn diagram of interest here between these genres. Okay, let's demonstrate the looping capabilities of these tracks. I'm just going to pull one from the Western file here. Let's do Timed Robbery. This is a fun track, and I'm going to put this in the software that I use to create music, but it's not going to alter the file in any way. And we could see here, let's just listen to the end of this file, the loop file. There's kind of like a sharp ending there of the file. That's because it's the loop file. If we were to listen to Timed Robbery without the loop, it has a little more of a natural ending. It has what's called a tail, an audio tail, where you can hear the decay of the sound, of the noise. Hear that? We actually hear it end. And this one has a sharp ending because it's meant to loop and keep repeating. So let's hear that in action here. right? There's our seamless loop. That's a fun track. I had a lot of fun with a lot of these, and with the last few minutes, I'll just indulge in nerding out on a few of these tracks because I think that's fun. With Western, sci-fi, and noir, I specifically made a note to give you tracks that included music of the time period or of the universe. For example, in the Western folder, we have some saloon piano music. Right, super fun there. In sci-fi fantasy, I called it cantina music. Let's listen to a little bit of that. Super fun. And in noir, I labeled it as bar music. We have like big band stuff, as well as some versions that include a vinyl filter of the track. Let me show you what I mean by that. Here's Bar Big Boy Tony. And here's a vinyl version of that. Super fun stuff. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like custom-made music for your game or project, please reach out to me at jake@jacoblivesmusic.com, or you can visit my website, jacoblivesmusic.com. Lastly, if you use this music in your game, please let me know. I'd love to share it with my audience and spread awareness of your project. Thanks again so much. Have a great day.